my name is Antonio. I'm the Roco Tactical Program Manager, and today I'd like to demonstrate the use of the RDX, also known as the Roco RDX.
Hello, my name is Jeremy, and today I'm here to assist Ish in demonstrating the proper procedures for the RDX.
Before I go into the specs of the RDX, I'd like to give a brief history of the fast rope and the RDX. If an airline option is not available for the helo, the fast rope then is used to deploy a large team on the ground. As we all know, it's a simple device but very hazardous because all you're doing is gripping the rope till you reach the ground. Again, with heavy equipment, a small drop zone LZ like a ship makes it that much more hazardous. That is where the RDX comes in. The RDX is a fast rope descent device that helps your control of your descent as you're doing the fast rope. As for the specifications of the RDX, it is compact, lightweight, and durable. The rope itself is a PMI 12.5 half-inch heat shield aramid fiber Kermantle rope. It's a low stretch static rope. From eye to eye, it is 43 inches. From end to end in strength is 22 kilonewtons. The friction pad is made of Kevlar Nomex material. The Cordura material, which is out here, the sleeves, are there to protect the stitching. Now that I've gone over the characteristics of the RDX as a friction knot, I'd like to go over another variable, and a very important variable, and that is the variations or characteristics of the fast rope itself. More precise, the actual thickness. The thinner the fast rope, the faster you go. 6.5 inches is the optimum diameter you want to use as on the RDX. Thicker, the slower in potential hang-ups. And just to show you this, I'm going to measure this. 6 inches in diameter. Again, this can be due to the manufacturer, the age of the rope, a lot of variables on why you might have a different thickness. This one is, again, 6.5 inches or 16.5 centimeters. Again, 6 inches or 15.24 centimeters. Thicker, slower potential hang-ups on the fast rope. This one is at 7.5 inches in diameter or 19.05 centimeters. So I want to stress, the thinner the fast rope, the faster you'll go, which means you want to maintain that brake hand on the RDX. Optimum is 6.5 inches or 16.5 centimeters is optimum. The thicker fast rope, this one's 7.5 inches or 19.05 centimeters, potential hang-ups and a little more struggle because it will grip this rope a little better because it is a thicker rope. Minimum personal protective equipment from head to toe: helmet with chin strap, eye protection, gloves, harness with utility carabiner, and good support footwear. Next, I'd like to go over the inspection criteria of the RDX. Roco recommends after you put the RDX into service, its first use, you have 8 years of life for the RDX. After 8 years, regardless of the condition, you need to replace it. So usually I'll start from one end to the other and just look at any breach of the material or any damage of the material. Start at the eyelet, looks good. The cover for the stitching looks good, and the stitching itself looks good. Just work my way down, all the way down now. I'm looking at the rope itself. I want to make sure I expose every bit of the rope, of the Technora rope. Looks good, both sides. Looks good. Friction control pad looks very good. Stitching looks good. And No compromise in the Nomex cover. Work my way down to the other side of the eyelets. Expose the stitching. If you notice, this side has the 3 ends here. The stitching looks pretty good, and the integrity of the cover looks pretty good too. And you notice here has a lot number. If you're curious what the lot number is underneath here, there's also a plastic sheath that protects the stitching. Everything looks intact and is ready for use. I stress that you want to do this inspection before every use, and I recommend inspecting it after every use. Once you're finished inspecting the RDX, you want to inspect the Kong carabiner. Again, it's a quick release, naturally opens and closes, and it doesn't stick. Looks good. RDX is ready for use. Now I'd like to go over when to retire the RDX. After 8 years of use, you need to retire the RDX regardless of condition. What you're looking for, any breach in the material like this on the rope, where you can see the core, you need to replace it. On the friction control pad, the stitching here has been cut or compromised. Here, I can see through the friction control pad, you need to replace it. When you look at the threads, if there's any breach or compromise in the protective cover or the sheath, you need to replace it. The threads, if there's any compromise, you need to replace it. Regardless of how old this is, you need to replace this RDX. And I remind you, you need to inspect your RDX before every use. Now that I've gone over the RDX and the fast rope, I'd like to go over pre-flight of the RDX. First thing you want to do is secure the Misty Mountain RDX tether to the fast rope. You do that with a girth hitch. And you do it tightly on the fast rope. And you notice it's on the fast rope and it's not secured to the bird. That allows for a quick release of the fast rope. The 4,000-pound webbing and a quick release at the end of that tether. Next comes the RDX. As you notice, Jeremy will center the friction control pad of the RDX. Next, he will tie from behind the first X in front. No twist. Second X, or double X, no twist again behind the fast rope. Then he makes sure he takes the eyelets with no twists and secures the tether with the quick release to the RDX and checks. Now it's ready for deployment. Ensure stable footing as you approach the fast rope. Connect to the RDX with the Kong carabiner. Set with your weak hand with a sharp downward motion. Apply a brake with your strong hand below the friction pad with a tight grip. Ensure both eyelets are hooked to the Kong carabiner. Ensure there is slack on the RDX safety tether. This confirms you are loaded on the RDX and not on the tether. Release the safety tether. Reposition your weak hand with a sharp downward motion. Ensure your strong hand continues holding a brake below the friction pad. This is the position you exit the aircraft. Stand by, go. Ensure that both eyelets are connected. John Belay. Set, brake hand. Now he's clear to load the system prior to the aircraft. Release. Once he's released, he resets his hand and he's cleared to exit. Go ahead and stop. Good? Feels pretty good? Yeah. All right. Tower, phase 2, slick, no belay. want to emphasize that if the individual requires more belay time on the RDX, do so. Do not go out on the RDX until you're comfortable without the belay. Stand by. Go. Same action. Ensure both eyelets are hooked. Set. Belay line. Load the system prior to exiting. Set. Brake hand. Go. Tower phase. Full equipment, no belay. Stand by. Go. Sure both eyelets are hooked up. Set. Load. Exit. Tower phase, full equipment. In this case, another option is either the Tandem or have the equipment hang below the RDX. In order to do that, if you're wearing a rucksack, you're by yourself, strong side shouldered, weak side off your shoulder. Tether, strong point to your rucksack, attached below the Kong carabiner to your utility carabiner. Looks good? Stand by. Go. Connect with both eyelets, ensure that. Set, brake, load, rucksack off. Same action. Disconnect, then go. The Tandem canine technique is the same as the Tandem Ruck. The canine hangs on the utility carabiner, which is connected directly from the Kong to the RDX. This way, all the weight is distributed to the RDX. Phase 3, static loading of the aircraft using the RDX. Stand by, go. Stop. Notice his footing. Very positive footing and stable footing as he approaches the fast road. Okay? I'm going to stop right here. This is the most hazardous stage of the RDX use. The transition from aircraft to the fast rope. So be very careful. Notice when he grabs the fast rope first, and the other hand, he grabs the RDX. Then he connects. And he sets. Good brake hand. Nice. I'd like to go over the emergency procedures for the RDX. I want to emphasize you can avoid the potential emergency procedure if you have a proper setting and exiting of the aircraft. 3 types of emergency procedures. 1 is a hung roper due to the safety tether. 2, a hung roper due to too much friction on the RDX. 3, too little friction on the RDX and you have a runaway roper. Also, prior to doing the emergency procedure, ensure you have a safety line on the rope. RDX malfunction drill. If you set correctly, malfunctions will not occur. It's when you take your weight off temporarily, there's a chance that the RDX can flip over onto itself and create potentially a hung roper. When that happens and you're committed, you need to take the weight off of that friction knot temporarily. So climb the rope as quick as you can, jam, and then continue. Emergency procedure, roper hung by safety tether. Stand by, go. Brake hand first, apply an aggressive brake hand, apply aggressive brake hand. With your other hand at the shackle, free yourself from there. Pull. Once you're free, continue down the fast rope. Emergency procedure, roper hung by safety tether. First, aggressive brake. Aggressive brake. 2, attempt to break it on your own. Grab it, the base, keep grabbing. Unable to do that. Prepare to cut. Okay, away from here, high. Identify the line, the tether. Away from the RDX. By cut. Dump that or something. Emergency procedure. Roper hung by safety tether. Go. Emphasize brake hand. Brake hand. Now try to release on your own. Then wait. Hey!
Hey! Hung jumper!
Cutting! 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 Stand by, cut! Sorry. And now pretend you're stuck like emphasizing. There you go. There. Now prepare your chin up. Grab the rope. Up. Try chin up. Push down.
RDX, Emergency Procedures Runway Roper. Prepare for a PLF, Parachute Landing Fall.
Special features of the RDX for instructional use on how to fast rope. Stand by, go. Alright, go down. Okay, go ahead and stop for a second here. So, when you're fast roping, be aware of your speed at all times. Control, control. You want to look down and make sure you don't go over anybody. Hands close together, like that. And really tight. How's that feel? Good. Now how's your feet feel? Think of your feet. Alright, roper, keep your feet on the fast rope. Hands tight. Even elbows in your body. You want to really squeeze tight on the rope. How's that feel? Good. Control your speed at all times. Go ahead and go down a little further and stop. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Stop. Now look at the ground. Be aware of your speed. Alright, continue. Nice. Is that good? Special features of the RDX, stacking. 30 seconds. Stand by. Ropes, ropes, ropes. Go. I'm stopping the frame here to demonstrate that you can have multiple ropers on the fast rope while using the RDX. I'm going to demonstrate this by having them stop for a moment while fast roping. Be advised, do not stop on the fast rope, since it will create excessive weight and potentially shock load the fast rope's anchor. Special features, RDX used as an anchor sling. Alright, from end to end it's 22 kilonewtons in strength, roughly 44 kilonewtons when used as an anchor sling. What you want to do is ensure the friction control pad's out of the way, move off to one side, around the object, and there's your anchor sling. On belay. Good?
Ready.
All right, lowering.
Slow load.
Off belay.